All right, welcome traders. Let's jump into our recap for Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023. First broadcast of the new month in October. So we're ready to get things underway. I had a couple days in the hospital, but back and running. So let's take a look at the markets really quick here. If we look at SPY, ended the day on a pretty good down note. Here dropping significantly on the session. However, still holding on, if we're looking at the daily, still holding on to this downtrend line and just below the 3 ATR. So we'll see where we are, but we are definitely overextended. If we're looking at RSI, overextended. The MACD had tried to recover, and then on the selling today, on the 3rd here, we reversed it a bit, but I'm not too concerned about that. But I like the fact that we are overdone. Excuse my voice a little bit. It's a little groggy right now, but hopefully this will sound okay to you. But we're still dropping on the weekly here, and we have not gotten to any kind of an oversold or reversal situation on SPY. As if we take a look at the Qs, pretty much the exact same scenario. Looking at the weekly, still pulling back on a big move down on the session. And if we sweep over to the daily, we are not as oversold at all. So we're not in oversold RSI territory. MACD had been starting to recover a bit, and we have not hit that 3 ATR or even the outside of the Bollinger Band yet on the Qs. So the Qs hanging in there pretty decently at this point in time. Did break through this neckline area. We'll see where we go. Right now, any bounce would be just a bounce in this downtrend, but we'll see what happens here. And if we look at IWM, still heading down towards the bottom of this channel that it's been trading in since really June, July of last year, been in this channel and just heading lower on that, broke this current little trend line that we had going there. So we'll take that off the screen. And oversold definitely on IWM. We'll see where things move the rest of the week. But right now, nothing saying that we're stopping and nothing saying that this thing's going to reverse and move higher. Any up movements here would be probably an opportunity to put on either some more hedges or get a little short, most likely. VIX ending the day on the session here at 1978. So basically up towards the 20 mark, which is the highest VIX has been since all the way back here on one day in March. But it's not really the highest close that it's been for quite some time. So that only lasted one day, and then VIX sold off hard after that. We'll see where VIX moves, but has moved up a bit. So a little bit more volatility back in the markets, but nothing crazy on the session. Dollar gained on the session as well, hitting the 3 ATR at one point and then backing off of that. TLT taking another massive hit on the session, dropping to 85.06 as rates continue to rise. You're going to see TLT continuing to sell off. And any bounce here would again be an opportunity to probably get a little shorter on it. And my guess is it will bounce on Wednesday here, and you're already probably seeing that. But I think it's extremely oversold. So I think you can expect some slowing down or turnaround, but obviously that hasn't happened. If you look at the last two sessions, just massive selling in TLT. So the TLT TMF bulls are still getting it handed to them on a daily basis. And then if we look at TNX, rates just keep going higher. So 10-year rates closing the session at 48.06. What did they close at? 48.02, I think is where it closed. So closing was 48.02, high was 48.06 on the session. Big giant gap ups here. So this has been gapping on the 10-year. You are in overbought territory on both the weekly and the daily. So potentially, do you see some breaks? Do you see some easing? We'll wait and see what happens in the markets. on those. And just a quick look at futures. Aussie dollar sold off decently on the session. British pound sold off on the session. Canadian dollar sold off on the session. And then 6E, the euro, also sold off on the session, looking to get a bounce on Wednesday. And all of these, if we take a look at oil, bounced a little bit off the 21 EMA on the session, but oil has flipped over on the weekly. So MACD has been heading down, as well as RSI. And you're also seeing the exact same thing on the daily. So you got RSI falling now, breaking through 50 here as it drops below the 21. So oil definitely pulling back on the session. Coming into Wednesday, a little bit of a bounce on Tuesday here. And then gold, which has really just been the nemesis. This drop in gold over the last 2 weeks has just been absolutely monstrous. It is so far extended below the 3 ATR. It's not funny, but I had to follow mechanics and actually got stopped out on a trade right at the very bottom here. We'll see if gold catches any kind of a bounce in here, but just another day on gold. However, this is as far overextended as it's been, and RSI now maybe looking to curl, as well as MACD. And I think you could be starting to find maybe some slowdown in the selling on gold. We'll keep an eye on all of that. And then sectors on the day, you would expect XLK to be down significantly, XLY down significantly, XLE down. Now, if you look at XLK, not in oversold territory at all yet. So we talked about that on the Qs earlier. XLY, not quite there yet, but getting close. So you're not really on oversold territory as far as the RSI goes on any of those. Downward moves on XLE, downward moves heavily on XLF, which is very oversold on a daily right now. If we look at, let's jump to healthcare real quick. Decent down day, defensive sector, it was down, but now getting oversold. Utilities just been getting creamed, finally had a little bit of a bounce on the session. So there's where we are on that. Nothing to look at on any of the individual stocks yet. Amazon not oversold and still in a downtrend on the weekly. Apple not oversold at all and trying to reverse itself a little bit here. MACD and RSI trying to inch higher. Microsoft, pretty good down day, but you're on a PSR bullish reversal here. And I think I can catch a bid on Wednesday, at least at the open. I think the ideal thing for traders would have been, after yesterday's selling, which was pretty significant on the session, if we really take a look at SPY on the day, just from a candle perspective, you opened lower, tried to move up, went way lower, and finished just off of the lows. What I would have liked to have seen is a lot longer tail, even though that doesn't always mean we're going to turn around. I would have liked to have seen more selling or continued selling this morning and then a bounce today. I think we're going to get a little bit of a bounce on Wednesday with the jobs numbers, but that could only be a temporary one-day fixture. So we'll see what happens with that. Meta still hanging in there tough. I still think Meta looks good. And I think if the markets move higher, Meta could be a recipient of that. We'll see where Meta moves. Google just off of a decent day, didn't do a whole lot of anything, but MACD definitely moving higher with RSI. So I think you could see some good movement in Google to the upside, and NVIDIA just kind of hanging in there flat. Nothing major happened in a lot of the big cap tech. So tech still looks decently. Let's take a quick look at the account. And here's where we were on the day yesterday, 712 on our Delta. So Delta's jumped up quite a bit on that selling. Theta continues to climb, now 0.55. So now Theta and Delta getting a little outside of our ranges. So a lot of this has to do with this downward move, naturally moving things higher, but we'll keep an eye on it. We would like to get some deltas taken off. Naturally, it may do some of that if the markets start to move. Net lick dropped a bit more on the day, so a pretty decent down day on the session. For the net lick, BP remained pretty much the same. In fact, I don't think I really updated it overnight. I want to put in some preliminary numbers here. BP usage, pretty much the same. I think when we took off a loss here on the day, that affected our BP. So took another loss on a strangle on gold. 48.10 was the loss. Let's take a quick look at the trades on the session. So we opened the day with a nice put butterfly win. We didn't get as much as we would have liked, 86% return on that trade, 87% return. So we bought it for $1.50, sold it for $2.80. 4 days in that trade, 86% return, only $130 positive. But we would have liked to have seen more, but it blew through the center of the fly. And when they do that, I have to take them off. I know you can leave them on till you close, but once you blow through it, I'm taking the gains and I'm running with that. Yeah, we closed a gold strangle yesterday. It hit our 2x stop, so we stopped out, took a loss on that. But we had also put on a put spread in gold. There's a little bit of a gold hedge yesterday just to see how it performed. It ended up becoming just a 0 DTE trade on gold. We did make $400 on that, so it lessens a little bit of that hit. So it takes about 10% off of that almost. So got some of that back and a decent little 12% return on a premium there in 1 day on gold, making $400 back. So a little bit of a loser day yesterday. Had to take off another strangle here. So had gold strangle get hit, and then we had taken a hit on a euro strangle. So 2 strangle losers. We are still at 89% win rate on our strangles. So you take a couple losers, and then you're going to, 1 loser, and then 9 winners is usually the method. So we've still got 9 strangles left on. We'll see what happens in the markets on Wednesday. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody.